Everyone always says how expensive life with kids is and how financial independence is only something for dinkies and not families. Today I will share with you exactly how we are managing to march into financial independence without compromising our desire to have a family. We currently have 3 children under 6, and over the past few years we've been able to maintain a 70% savings rate while still being able to spend money on things that really matter to us, like sending our kids to private school, going to Europe every 2 years to see my family, and giving a portion of our income to the church and those in need. And no, we do not have a 7-figure income. Dave Ramsey coined the phrase, "If you live like no one else, later you can live like no one else." And I just love that. That's really motivated us to go against the grain a bit and to live differently from the people around us. And this leads me to my first point. We live below our means. You've maybe heard it said that the 3 areas where people spend the most money are housing, transportation, and groceries. And in all 3 areas, we try to live below our means. And we don't spend money the way most people think millionaires spend money. But if we did, we would not be financially where we are today. So for housing, we live in a modest house in a decent neighborhood. We definitely have bought a house that is below what we could have afforded, but it's comfortable, it serves our family, and it keeps our mortgage at a level that we can easily pay each month so that it's not stressful, right? Our mortgage is not locking us into our jobs and into the fear of losing our job. And the house serves our family well, and we're comfortable here, and we like it. And because our mortgage is reasonable and not super, super high, we can invest the difference, which then with compound interest is growing over time. That's one key thing that's helping us go into financial independence because we're able to save more money than if we had a huge mortgage. For transportation, we buy cash for our vehicles. I talk on this channel a lot about being valuists, so spending money where it matters. And for us, for my husband and I, obviously we need transportation, but we don't value having a specific kind of fancy car. I mean, I would like a nice, really fancy car, right? But I want financial independence more. So we've chosen to buy cars that are a bit older, they're sturdy, but they're nothing flashy, that we're able to pay with cash. And see, that's kind of the thing, right? Because we pay cash for our cars, we don't have monthly payments on our cars. And so then we have more cash flow to pay for cash for other things. And that really keeps us out of debt. And for food, we rarely go out to eat. I mean, right now in our stage of life with little kids, honestly, I find going out to eat not too enjoyable anyway. But even without kids, we don't go out to eat on a weekly basis. It would be like a special thing for like date night or a special celebration or something like that. We mostly cook at home. And then for grocery shopping, we go to a local Aldi, or in the US, I guess you say Aldi. We do live here in the US, but it's a store that's kind of the concept from Germany, where I'm from. And the prices are a bit cheaper. They have a really cool concept. Honestly, if you want to look into Aldi, they're pretty cool. The way they have their store set up and their staff set up, they are able to sell their products for cheaper. And that's not because they lowball their employees. Their employees, from what I've heard, actually make a decent wage. It's just the way they've set up that they've been able to reduce employees because every employee does all the things. That's what I understood. Maybe I'm wrong, but the way Aldi has set up its system is it's able to save money on areas where it doesn't matter, but they're able to pay their employees a reasonable wage, and they're able to reduce the prices for the customer. So it's a win-win-win all around. And yes, the one caveat with Aldi is that it doesn't have everything. It's a bit limited, which actually on the flip side, I kind of like, because you go in, if you want to buy butter, there's 2 options for butter, right? It's not like a million options and you're just like fatigued with the decision. You have few options for products. And yes, there's some things that we have to go to other stores like every couple of weeks. Like, for example, certain flour that I buy for the bread baking. What else? Kind of like specialty things if you want like specialty like Asian food, certain things that they wouldn't have. But I've just adjusted our meal planning to fit the foods that Aldi has to save money and time. So I only go to one store. Again, every so often we have to go to a different store, but that's not on a weekly basis. Weekly basis, I go to Aldi, I get the things there, I meal plan. And that's kind of the next thing. If you meal plan, first of all, you have less food waste. But I've actually noticed a couple of years ago, I started to meal plan and our food budget, like our grocery budget, went down. Because now I only bought the things that we were going to use. I had less waste and everything was kind of like planned for. And if you feel overwhelmed with meal planning, the system that's really worked well for me is that I have written out different meals, like a couple of meals per week and 4 weeks of that. And then I just rotate the weeks. So I don't actually have to do a meal plan like a new meal plan each week. I just basically rotate the meals that I've already planned for like 4 or 5 weeks. You can do more if you want. But honestly, if you're really honest with yourself, you're probably cooking the 10 same meals anyway. So plan those out, like plan a couple of weeks out and then just rotate the weeks. So you don't have to have all that mental energy to make new meal plans every week. The next thing that's helping us maintain a 70% savings rate and achieve financial independence is having no debt. This is actually really huge because if you have no debt, you have more money to invest, and that money is what's going to become your nest egg for financial independence. Now, with the exception of a mortgage, we do have a mortgage, but that's the only debt we have. My husband and I both have college degrees, but we have no student debt. How do we achieve that? Well, for one, I think I already mentioned I'm from Germany. And so in Germany, we don't actually pay for college. There's like a small fee. Like I think I paid for my undergrad, it was like €400 per semester. And so that's not a lot. And I was able to pay that just with the job that I had. Through undergrad and grad school, I would have at least one job, sometimes 2 jobs. And that would pay for the rent that I had. I had a little cute apartment in Munich, Germany, where I went to school. And it paid for everything I needed for school. So I left grad school with actually money saved that I had started to save up. And then my husband, he was in the military for a while. So the military paid for a lot of his college tuition. And also he was working while he was in school. So he actually got like paid as he went. And I think when he graduated, he had a couple $1,000s left, and he just really quickly paid that off so that he wouldn't be stuck with interest and would have no more debt going forward. We also don't have any consumer debt, so we don't buy anything that we don't have the money for in our bank accounts. I mentioned the cars, so we also only buy cars that we're able to pay with cash. But again, it's that snowball effect, right? Because we don't have consumer debt, because we don't have car payments, we have more cash to pay for things right away. So we don't have to pay interest on things. We don't have debt building up. And so each month we're able to put more and more money into our savings account, 401k, all that stuff. So I really do think if you're wanting to achieve financial independence, getting rid of your debt is going to be huge. And Dave Ramsey has a really awesome program. It's called Financial Peace University for helping you get out of debt if you want to check that out. Disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm simply sharing what's worked for us and our family. The next point is we are not afraid of buying used things or accepting free hand-me-downs. Did you know that there's a statistic that there is approximately 11 times more kids' items on this planet than actual children? At least here where we live in the US, there's huge thrift stores that have clothes, toys, tons of stuff, clothes for kids. There's garage sales that we like to go to, or local buy nothing groups. If you've never heard about buy nothing groups, they're awesome. They're nationwide here in the US. I don't know if they're in other countries. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have buy nothing groups in other countries too. But here in the US, they're usually organized through Facebook, like locally. And people post on their things that they no longer want, and you can just go and pick it up. We've given away things to that group oftentimes, and we've gotten so many things to that group. You guys, we've gotten our baby crib. I'm trying to think, car seats that haven't expired and that were accident free. Tons of baby clothes. I've gotten clothes from there. We got this really, really beautiful changing table that's also like a dresser. So if you're not afraid of getting stuff that's used, you can save so much money, and you also save the planet. I've heard of some people saying that they just don't want to get used stuff, especially for their kids. And if that's you, I kind of want to invite you to reflect upon that resistance. Like, what is that inside of you that's like resisting, that doesn't want used things? It's totally fine to want new stuff, but if you're wanting to work to increase your savings rate, then I think it's worth reflecting upon what's your resistance to accepting free things or to using things that somebody else has already used. Are there maybe some insecurities, some worries, some anxieties? And if you can work through those and kind of be able to choose, are there certain categories in your life where you would like to use things without it triggering something in you, then I think that would be really worthwhile doing. All right, I'm going to take my therapy hat off again and let's go back to it. My fourth point is minimalism. Before I buy anything, I ask myself, do I already own something that I can use for this? Can I borrow it? Can I buy it used? Do I even need it? And that honestly, asking myself those questions has reduced the items that then actually come into my home. I think the first time I stumbled upon minimalism was when our first daughter had just been born. And I was looking for ways to make our home feel easier, to keep clean and tidy and more peaceful. And at first, it wasn't about saving money. It was just about having less inventory and having just a more peaceful and calm environment. But I quickly found that actually we save a lot of money. And now with me just having less items in my home, I've also changed the way I shop, because whenever I want to buy something, I ask myself, is this item that I want to bring into my home worth risking the peace that I've worked so hard to create, right? I mean, it takes so much time to go through things and declutter. And so anytime you bring something into your home, you're risking, messing with that peace. So, and yes, right, we all need to buy things. Asking yourself, like, is this item worth adding to my thing? Because the thing is, there's a cost to owning things, right? Any item you own has these like quiet to-dos, like use me, maintain me, repair me, display me, tidy me up, right? So having things adds to our mental load, adds to visual clutter. And also, again, if you spend money on things, then that's just going to take away from money that you could be investing and saving. Now, that being said, please keep buying things that really add value. I definitely don't think that if you deprive yourself of all things, that's not very sustainable, right? You're going to burn out. So, but just be more intentional with the things that you do bring into your home and that you spend your hard-earned money on. And the whole minimalism movement, there's so much stuff on YouTube, so many great YouTube channels that I've gotten inspired by. It's just really inspiring to grow in that area and to strengthen your muscle, to really be intentional about your spending. And finally, and I already kind of alluded to this in my previous point, we spend where it matters and we save where it doesn't. So basically, we're valuists, right? We are pretty intentional with what brings value to our life and where do we just simply not want to spend money on. And this has led me to actually enjoy the things that we own and the experience we do more, because if everything's special, then nothing is special, right? So just really looking at where are we spending our money and where is it important, where is it adding value, and where is it just draining our budget. And the thing is, us saving money, the money isn't gone, right? It is helping us reach a life where we are just more in control over our time, where work is optional, and that's really the goal. And that's totally feasible with having kids, right? I mean, you get to decide where you spend your money. And I think a big point is to not compare yourself to others. Most people around you are not going to be able to retire before the age of 63 or 65. And so, taking Dave Ramsey's quote again, if you live like no one else, later you can live like no one else. Most people don't spend in a way that's leading them to financial independence. So doing things differently, it's going to look differently, but you are just choosing to spend your money for different things, right? To buy yourself the freedom that comes with financial independence. If you like this video, you're probably also going to like this video where I share things that we don't spend money on. And until next time, have an awesome week. Bye, guys.